German soldiers were making strange gestures. A little boy opened his mouth. The boy looked at them in terror, completely not understanding what they intended. Unexpectedly, the Germans parted the boy's mouth. German soldiers pressed cold gun barrels to the boy's mouth, eyes expressionless and devil-like. Without hesitation, they pulled the trigger. Hearing the gunshot, the mother turned to look. Driven away by Germans, her beauty spared her death but made her a soldier's plaything, while other women and elderly were killed instantly. Soviet soldiers observed Army's inhumane atrocities in the woods. The squad saw everything clearly. Squad leader Sharipov was heartbroken, planning to rush out and kill the beasts. At this moment, a soldier beside him blocked him, firmly pinning him to the ground. Sharipov was trembling with anger, but after calming down, he understood that this was now a war zone. If he acted rashly, he would alert the Germans outside. Based on true events, Soviet soldiers heroically fought a 6-month guerrilla war in the German-occupied zone, capturing commanders and inspiring a film adaptation. On June 22, 1941, Germany launched a surprise attack on the Soviet Union, and Sharipov's 56th Division was surrounded by the Germans on 3 sides. The unit faced annihilation. Platoon leader Sharipov was tasked to lead his squad, cover the regiment's retreat, and hold off Germans for a day. Before leaving, the battalion commander advised him, "If the regiment is gone, survive alone." After several days of bloody battles, the regiment broke out and retreated, but Sharipov and 8 comrades couldn't keep up and were trapped behind German lines. The battlefield was in ruins with bodies left unburied covering the entire area. They intended to bury their fallen comrades, but suddenly, gunfire from the Germans sounded not far away. They quickly ran into the woods to hide and rest briefly before continuing their journey. Along the way, they found a farmhouse courtyard ahead without any sign of German troops. Sharipov entered to assess the situation and obtain food for his comrades' strength. Only an elderly grandmother in the courtyard recognized them as Soviet soldiers. The hospitable old grandmother invited them in, offering potatoes to regain strength and some old clothes. Seeing her kindness, Sharipov felt grateful, and just then, a soldier accidentally lifted the curtain but was so frightened by the scene inside that he stumbled back. Instantly, everyone became tense as his badges fell onto the table. When a soldier lifted the door curtain, 6 neatly arranged corpses lay on the ground. The old grandmother then explained the German occupation. All the young people in the family were brutally killed, but she was too old to bury them, so the bodies had been kept in the room. After hearing the old grandmother's account, Sharipov felt mixed emotions. After helping the elderly grandmother bury the corpses, they prepared to leave to avoid troubling her. As they said goodbye, a car sounded outside. They hurried out the back door. The old grandmother reminded soldiers to take more food as German troops soon burst in. As soon as they entered the house, they searched for the badges and potato remnants of Soviet soldiers, drawing German troops' attention. The commander examined the 5-star badge in his hand. The old grandmother trembled with fear. The silent German commander gave the soldiers a look, and nearby soldiers understood that the grandmother and her family had been killed by the Germans. The Soviet squad fled into the woods and saw the Germans weren't pursuing. Sharipov told the team to rest while he scouted ahead. Not far ahead, a small wooden house appeared. He cautiously approached to inspect it. Outside the house were all Soviet soldiers' corpses, indicating that the Germans had definitely been here. At that moment, he faintly heard footsteps. A German soldier was slowly approaching him. He quickly pulled out a grenade and threw it to the side. A grenade blew away the unhurried German soldier, alerting others in the room. Soon, many soldiers with hunting dogs chased Sharipov immediately. A black hunting dog relentlessly chased Sharipov from behind. In confusion, the dog knocked him down, and they rolled down the hillside. He quickly drew his dagger and delivered 2 fierce stab wounds to send it away. Before he recovered, a German soldier appeared. Sharipov feigned surrender, swiftly turned to seize the gun barrel. They struggled, and with a few punches, he quickly subdued the German soldier. He tightly choked the German soldier, pinning him to the ground. The German desperately struggled, reaching for Sharipov's head and forcefully scratching his eyes. Luckily, Sharipov's large head prevented his eyeballs from being gouged out. Enduring a severe headache, Sharipov grabbed the nearby submachine gun and fired at the German soldier's abdomen. He escaped alone into the woods, led his comrades to flee, but the Germans soon pursued them. During retreat, a soldier was struck by the enemy. Sharipov intended to return and rescue him, but the enemy was too near, making rescue impossible. He followed teammates' advice and kept fleeing. A few ran desperately but were blocked by a swamp. Helpless, Sharipov decided to cross it, leaving life or death to fate. The group used branches to test their path and managed to cross the deadly area. Meanwhile, arriving German troops were shocked, unwilling to risk for a few men on the brink of death. They abandoned the pursuit and retreated as the exhausted squad climbed ashore. After several narrow escapes, a soldier broke down, refusing to struggle in vain. With German troops surrounding him, his chance of survival was slim. "It's better to surrender now. Maybe there's still hope," he said, then prepared to cross the swamp to surrender. Another soldier looked at the coward and was about to shoot him on the spot. Sharipov, though angry, stopped his teammate from firing. After all, no one could guarantee they'd make it back alive. Everyone has the right to survive, but no one expected the soldier to become stuck in mud after stepping, struggling to free himself. It felt like a demon's hand was dragging him down. He quickly turned to call for his comrades' help, but Sharipov and the others just watched quietly. In an instant, the soldier was fully submerged, but they eventually pulled him out. Sharipov forbade surrendering again, warning that even heaven wouldn't spare him. Now calmed, the group continued escaping just as they left the woods. They saw German troops stop several women and children. Then, as shown earlier in the video, the Germans intercepted Soviet women, executing the older ones on the spot. Children were brutally killed too. The weapons in their hands made them utterly inhumane. Their cruelty was unimaginable. Sharipov in the woods intended to rush out and take revenge. With the enemy's large numbers, direct fighting would lead to needless sacrifices. After calming down, they ceased fleeing and adopted guerrilla warfare in German-occupied areas. They soon encountered a resting German unit. A soldier threw a knife into their rear, and others quickly advanced to ambush them. Before the Germans could react, they were eliminated. Then they checked the vehicle. Inside, they found a young German soldier and brought him before Sharipov. Trembling with fear, the soldier prompted Sharipov to hastily produce a photo of his mother. He hoped they'd spare him for his mother, but seeing the German soldier and recalling Sharipov's ruthless killings, Sharipov chose to finish him with one shot. The group proceeded and found a village apparently untouched by recent fighting. Sharipov ordered a soldier to investigate, who for safety donned garments given by an elderly woman. They disguised themselves as civilians and took a grenade. However, upon entering the village, they unexpectedly encountered 3 German patrol soldiers. The Germans ordered him to stop and be searched. He feigned confusion and moved toward the courtyard, where the Germans immediately fired, striking his lower leg. He quickly limped away, but the Germans did not intend to let him escape. She was quickly cornered by a merciless man. Unable to run, she reluctantly pulled out a grenade, choosing to go down with the Germans. The Soviet squad heard the commotion and rapidly arrived. The explosion drew nearby German troops. Sharipov launched a surprise attack with equal forces. Both fearless sides engaged directly, swiftly annihilating the nationalist troops. As gunfire ceased, hiding villagers emerged one by one. Seeing they were their own, they were delighted. Then, the village chief led them deep into the woods. Nikolai, a separate Soviet squad leader from Tajikistan, and Sharipov share a hometown. In this perilous German-occupied area, they can still encounter fellow villagers. The two were particularly friendly. As the teams merged and nearby villagers joined, everyone's fighting spirit soared. They decided to set up camp in the woods and launch guerrilla warfare using the captured German equipment and weapons. When the German patrols in the village learned of this from their commander, they became very angry and decided to publicly execute the captured Soviet soldiers to deter the local villagers. Upon hearing this news, the villagers, they sneaked back to the guerrilla camp overnight, told Sharipov about Germans' execution plan, and decided to take the risk. The next day, the captured Soviet soldiers were brought to the gallows, ready to be executed in front of the villagers. The guerrillas, disguised as Germans escorting several of their own, arrived at the German-occupied village. The Germans, puzzled and wondering where these prisoners came from, hurried to inspect them. As their identities were about to be revealed, everyone became tense. They slowly loosened the ropes and prepared for battle, forcing an early start. As Germans revealed their weapons, guerrillas launched their immediate attack. The Germans were caught off guard by their numerical advantage and disguised identities, making it difficult to distinguish friend from foe. The guerrillas quickly took control, and the surviving German soldiers began to surrender. The German commander was furious and immediately ordered a larger-scale crackdown on the guerrillas. Soon they captured a lone guerrilla fighter and locked him in a room. Suddenly, a scream came from outside the door. Upon opening it, he found the guard stabbed to death. Mistaking him for a secret comrade, he quickly tried to escape, unaware it was a deliberate ruse by the Germans. Military Unit 1 trailed closely when gunfire sounded as he reached the camp and was shot dead by German troops. Shortly after, German forces used machine guns and artillery to fiercely bombard the guerrilla camp. Ukrainian guerrillas panicked into battle as many German soldiers emerged from woods, tenaciously resisting and engaging in fierce firefights as German troops surged. Sharipov ordered the camp's abandonment, directing everyone to fight while retreating. The guerrilla team evacuated but lost many comrades. They set up elsewhere, but the German army refused to let them go. That day, a soldier brought back a stray little girl. From her, he learned that her mother and a large number of Soviet girls were to be sent to Berlin by German troops tomorrow, and he was the one who had escaped from there. Sharipov decided to act boldly and cleverly, ensuring innocent civilians weren't enemies' playthings, infiltrating quietly near the train station. Soldiers quietly neutralized several outer guards and quickly emerged from the woods to rescue many Soviet women, overcoming opposing forces one by one. They swiftly led the girls to retreat, but Sharipov felt something was amiss. The rescue was too easy, so he instructed Nikolai to evacuate with the girls, while he and another soldier withdrew from a different direction. German troops hiding in shadows clearly observed everything. The commander immediately recognized Sharipov and decided to hunt him. The German army launched their search on the two, whistling, while Sharipov and the other heard sounds approaching, fired randomly, and fled swiftly in opposite direction. But they didn't anticipate that the German commander and his deputy awaited their arrival with hunting rifles. Their comrades ahead were hit. Sharipov quickly pulled him behind a tree and, seizing the moment while they reloaded, threw his weapon. Under smoke cover, they swiftly evacuated the injured soldier and escaped the German siege, but he died from severe injuries. Seeing his fallen comrade on the ground, Sharipov showed helplessness and heartache, then buried him and hurried back to camp. Following multiple German army ambushes, he suspected a team spy and ordered a relocation. While packing to withdraw, they found a member carrying a harmonica, making Gigi seem suspicious. Thus, Sharipov and his men quietly followed him, stopped him to inspect his harmonica, but the other party suddenly launched an attack. During the fight, he struck a tree stump. Wood splinters pierced his neck, killing him instantly. They found a miniature radio inside the harmonica, indicating the camp's location may have been compromised to the Germans. The enemy is likely to attack the camp soon. Unexpectedly, the German army is assembling a large armored force to carry out a devastating strike against the Soviet guerrilla squad. Sharipov recognized the crisis and decided to take the offensive instead of fleeing or retaliating. Due to urgent timing, they launched a surprise attack on the German command center, with several quietly infiltrating near the post to scout deployments and surroundings. They first cut off camp reinforcements by blowing up the bridge. Under cover of night, several infiltrated quietly and successfully set explosives. Early the next morning, the German commander came to the riverbank with his guards. As key figures appeared, Sharipov ordered the explosives detonated, causing the bridge to collapse violently. Guerrilla forces launched a sudden surprise attack from ambush. Both sides clashed fiercely, confusing the awakened German troops. Seizing the moment, Sharipov charged the German commander and pushed him into the water. After reaching shore, he swung his fists again. The squad dragged the German commander and retreated swiftly as numerous German troops relentlessly pursued, while support guerrillas arrived. Both sides had intense firefights in the woods as German forces grew. Overwhelmed guerrilla fighters saw women take up arms to join the battle. However, German troops significantly outnumbered them. Guerrilla fighters were continuously shot and killed. Sharipov had exhausted his bullets, so he drew his handgun and fired the last one to resist the enemy. As a result, he was hit by the enemy, fell to the ground, nearly unconscious. He seemed to see his wife and two lovely children back home. Ensuring their continued happiness and living was his sole wish when dying on the battlefield. Fortunately, his comrade saved him in time. When he awoke again, he was lying on a stretcher. After receiving treatment, Sharipov ultimately survived. The movie ends here. This movie is based on true events. In late 1941, Sharipov, a Kazakh of Asian descent, returned home after the war and was appointed to key positions, including Kazakhstan's Minister of Education. And this movie was made based on his battlefield memoirs. That's it for today.